where I began to notice the magic happening in meditation was when I could observe my thoughts for what they were. Observing my thoughts through meditation took time. It didn't happen overnight. It was something that I learned to do. But the reason why I say the magic happens during observation of thoughts is because for me personally, what I discovered is that my thoughts were lying to me. Now, how does that happen? Well, while I'm sitting in meditation, or even if I'm not sitting, let's just assume I'm not sitting in meditation. Here's what my typical thoughts sound like. You're not good enough. You're not smart enough. Nobody likes you. The list is endless. There's a lot of thoughts that I can't even say in this video, but a lot of thoughts turn to self-hatred. So it was like if someone knew who you truly were, they would hate you the way that you hate yourself. That was a big one for me. And that really kept me from having long-term lasting relationships with people, is that I thought that if I got too close to anyone and exposed who I was, that they would find out who I am. And then once they found out who I am, leave me. It was common. So once I started meditating, those thoughts were not gone. In fact, they increased. Because I was sitting alone by myself, quiet, those thoughts started to get larger and bigger, and it was a challenge at first to sit with my thoughts. And I think that that's why we all struggle with meditation. When we first sit down, those thoughts are kind of all over the place. They're crazy. Not only are they multiplied because we're not used to sitting in silence, we're not used to knowing how often we think, but they are also stronger in their attack on us. And so what you might feel every once in a while about yourself, or for my case, for example, self-hatred, every once in a while, or even every day, or depending on what it was, now turns into a constant barrage during meditation. And so why I felt like the magic happens is because once I started to observe those thoughts, it took me some time, but once I started to observe those thoughts over a few month period, what I realized was something that you really can't teach unless you experience it for yourself. And that's what's so amazing about meditation for me, is it doesn't require me to believe anyone else. It requires me to experience the things that I experience, and to know them to be true on my own. And so when it comes to observation of thoughts, what I found was that the mind is a liar. The mind tells me lies all the time. The mind is this machine that creates thought. It's a constant thought creator. And most of those thoughts are just flat out lies. And without getting too deeply into my personal opinions of where those thoughts come from, the basic concept for me is that my thoughts come from a culmination of where I was born, who raised me, what religious practices I was part of as a young child, what traumatic experiences I had, like everything, even my own culture, where in the world I was born, all of those combine to create thoughts for me personally. They're unique to me, but they speak to me as if they're my own voice. And so when I was able to observe those thoughts for what they really were, which were just these things that, like, they came out of nowhere, they went nowhere, and the only time that they had power was when I gave them power. And I give my thoughts power by thinking about them, by acting on them, by holding on to them. It's interesting. Even I can hold on to a thought even by resisting it. You know, the resistance is where it strengthens that thought. It's like, I shouldn't feel this way. I shouldn't feel the way that I do about myself. That's a resistant way to push that thought out, right? And what ends up happening is that thought grows and grows and grows because I'm thinking about it more. The more I feed that thought, the bigger it gets. And what was so beautiful about recognizing that thoughts are just thoughts, and most of them are lies, is that if I simply just am aware and I simply just observe those thoughts for what they are, just innocuous. They hold no power. They don't matter unless I want them to. They simply go away. Those kind of thoughts go away. I think it's scary for some people to hear that the mind lies to them. I think a lot of people don't believe that that's true. I think that there are individuals on this planet who think they can control the mind. And I think that they can for a short period of time. But eventually that control turns against them. I think personally for me, what has been the most helpful for me personally is not to try to control the mind or control the thoughts, is to simply just recognize that those thoughts exist and reply in a lot of different ways. One of the ways that I've found to reply is by laughing at a thought that's outrageous. Like if I have a thought that comes across my mind in meditation or even just in general now, in my normal everyday life, and it's that thought of like, no one loves you. If they find out who you are, they're not going to love you. They'll leave you. I like to laugh at that thought and just be like, oh, okay. Welcome to the world, thought. Like, I didn't know where you were, but there you are. Just some way to lessen the pressure that comes with some of those things. So meditation gives us the opportunity to observe thought. And by observing thought, we can start to begin to appreciate the magic happening in our lives. And the magic happening is recognizing that thoughts have absolutely no power over us. And in fact, most thoughts are lies. It's unfortunate, but that's the way that our mind works. It tells us lies to either protect us or who knows what the reason is. I don't care what the reason is. All I know is that my mind lies to me and that I have this opportunity, this ability to disconnect from those lies and not participate in them. And for my whole life, I had tried to fix them. My thoughts would come and go, and I would try to fix my thoughts. And I was trying to do that because someone told me to do that. Someone told me that there was a possibility I could fix my thoughts, whether that was through religion or some other means, some other therapy. But that's not possible. At least in my opinion, it's not possible to fix our thoughts. It's definitely possible to allow them to leave quietly on their own, to exit stage right without me getting involved with them. It's like a dinner guest showing up and they're uninvited, and all you have is enough for a certain amount of dinner guests. The best way to treat that person if they refuse to leave is either call the police or just don't feed them. Let them stand outside. And that's the case with those thoughts that are bad thoughts. It's like, leave them alone, and they're gonna go away on their own. We struggle enough to work through just the regular thoughts that we get. I love meditation so much. I will continue to go down this path. There's deeper and deeper subjects within meditation, but that first experience of observation of thoughts without getting involved in them leads to so many things, so many understandings. Who am I? Who am I speaking to? Who are those thoughts talking to? It seems like I have a committee in my mind that communicates with a thought. Who is that? Why are they communicating together? Why does it appear that I have two things inside my head at the same time speaking to each other? And who am I really? Like, if I'm not those two things, then who am I? But all of that begins with observation of thought.